So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys, based on the time zones you all are coming from. So guys, before we start with the session here, can you all please give me a quick confirmation if you all can see my screen and hear me loud and clear as well? So you can use the questions and comment section, guys, to give me a quick confirmation if you all can see my screen and hear me loud and clear. Perfect. Thank you for confirmation, Akshay, Vishal, Rajendra, Rishi, Pierre. Pankaj, wonderful. Thank you so much for the confirmation, guys. So first of all, let's start by discussing our meter portal. So we do have our meter portal where we conduct more than 100 plus live webinars in every month, right? So please feel free to join this particular meetup. So you can all join this particular meetup so that you can all get notifications and invites to our exclusive webinars that we conduct on every month, right? So we conduct webinars on multiple topics, including DevOps, AWS, cloud computing, cybersecurity, web development, Python, programming languages, right? So we have almost more than 100 plus webinars that we conduct on a regular basis, right? And as you can see here, okay, first of all, let me share this link with everyone so that we can all have a quick access to our Meetup account. Let me share this. Here you go. So we all have the access. Now, using this link here, we can simply sign up and click on join this group. Now, once we join this group, we'll be getting notified on the upcoming webinars on different topics that we conduct on a regular basis, right? So as you can see here we have webinars being conducted by experts all around the globe on different topics, including data science, cybersecurity, web development, multiple programming languages, both for mobile and for web apps, right? DevOps, cloud computing. So we have multiple topics on which we conduct webinars. And again, the main attraction for these webinars are, first of all, these are free. These are totally based on a hands-on on the topic that we are discussing, right? So that you can all get a good grasp of what the topic is and how we can get started on these tools and these different techniques that we discuss in detail, in depth in these live webinars, right? So this can be a good platform for us to get started on learning new things. And as these are live webinars, then you'll be also be getting the opportunity to interact with the instructors, interact with the traders, and ask them questions, and any questions or any topics you might have on these topics, then you can straight away go ahead and ask those questions and get the clarity, right? And so that's a big advantage for us if we are joining this entire live webinar sessions here. All right. All right, guys. So now let's get right back. On discussion on ethical hacking. And before we start with the session, let me introduce myself. So I have been working in this IT industry for almost 10 years now, where I started my career working as a UI designer, designing the front end and back end applications for different companies, for different industry verticals, including insurance, banking, retail, pharmaceutical, location-based services, and satellite imagery for different markets, which included India, US, Canada, Singapore, and other Southeast Asian market so far. And so from there onwards, I have been leading global teams for design, development, marketing, and security of these applications for global clientele. And since last 5 years, I have been actively working as a corporate trainer, where I have trained the workforce or different companies, including Mercedes, EY, Capgemini, Accenture, Google, Grab. So I've been working extensively in training the workforce of these companies and making sure that the workforce of these companies are trained on the current trends and technologies and how to use them to provide a better solution to their clientele. Because as we know, in this highly competitive world, we have to stay a step ahead, right? So that's what I've been helping these companies in achieving that. All right. So, and before we start with the session here, guys, there's a simple and single rule that we have to follow. In case you have any questions, in case you have any doubts on whatever topic that we'll be discussing, please feel free to ping your queries using the questions tab here, right? So in case you are stuck on the topic, you have some queries, you want to discuss something, you want to share something, please feel free to do that using this using the same questions tab, so that I can have a visibility for your question and I can try to answer them one by one, right? And since we have a good number of participants joining in, now it may happen that some of your queries may get lost, some of your queries may get unanswered. So please don't feel disheartened. Keep on posting the same question again and again, so that it can have a good visibility, so that once we see it again, I can make sure that all of those queries are answered spontaneously one by one. All right, guys. So now let's get started on our discussion on ethical hacking. On ethical hacking, no, as we know, the ethical hacking domain has been the most popular, has been one of the most sought after domains in our last decade, right? So first of all, let's understand what exactly a hacking is, a hacking process is, right? So hacking is basically gaining the unauthorized access to any network, to any particular system, right? Or any particular data for which it was not intended. That's exactly what we mean by ethical hacking, right? For example, let's say user A wants to send some files to user B. Now, user A chose a network to send that file. Now, any attacker, what they did, they simply injected themselves in between the network, and they got the unethical or illegal access of the file, right? So that is all what we can say it is referred by hacking. Now, hacking are of multiple types. Hacking, we have multiple layers of hacking, multiple hacking in terms of network, in terms of storage, in terms of the system, right? So there are multiple layers of hacking, but hacking is simply making sure that we as an attacker, we get the unauthorized access to the system or to the file that we are planning to steal away, right? And hacking is basically mainly of three main types. We have white hat, gray hat, and then we have black hat, right? So white hat hacking refers to ethical hacking, where multiple companies, they employ different workforces. They employ cybersecurity experts to find the vulnerabilities in any given system, to know what kind of loopholes are present in the system and how they can be exploited, so that once they have a clarity on these loopholes, then they can try to fix that, right? So that any black hat attacker will not be able to hack into the system that easily, right? Again, remember, no system in the entire globe is 100% hack proof. Every system has some kind of loopholes. Every system may have some kind of drawbacks or vulnerabilities, right? But as a cybersecurity expert, our main goal is to make sure that those loopholes are not that easily detectable, or even though someone detects that, it becomes really hard, or it becomes not feasible for all the attackers to get into the system. That's the main job of a cybersecurity expert, right? Now, as we had discussed, first of all, we have the white hat hacker, then we have the gray hat. Gray hat is like a silver lining. Like we have silver lining, it falls between the gray hat and black hat and the white hat attackers. So, right? So they do conduct the hacking, but again, those are legal but unethical, right? So white hat attackers are both ethical and are legal as well, whereas gray hat are unethical but they are legal, whereas black hat attackers are completely illegal and as well as unethical as well, right? And that's a major division in terms of hacking if we talk about. All right. Now, the basic goals of ethical hacking. Now, ethical hacking, as we had discussed, is the job of the white hat hackers, right? So the basic job of any ethical hackers is to make sure that the entire privacy, entire security of the entire organization is intact, right? And in case, now again, just to find what are the different drawbacks of the entire system. Now, it can be system, it can be files, it can be the drawback in network as well. So the main job is to find what is that, like which area is most vulnerable, what those loopholes are, and how to fix those. That's the main job of the ethical hacking team out there, right? And obviously, they need to generate reports on a timely basis so that they can prepare, they can showcase this report to the management and to the organization, or the organization itself, so that they can work on fixing this particular issue, right? And obviously they obviously have to inform the hardware and software vendors as well. That means what kind of weakness it is and how they can improvise it, right? And then for the same reason, you may have heard of multiple rewards being given to those who find bugs in different applications, right? You may have heard that Facebook awarded, suppose, let's say $10,000 to the person who identified a bug in their security system on the website. Same as Google, Twitter, all of these websites, they keep on sharing multiple rewards for anyone who finds a bug in their websites, right? I believe all of us must have heard that. Have you heard that, guys? Please give me a quick information. You must have heard that in news, right? That multiple rewards are also given to people who find bugs or security risk in different applications, right? And for finding these bugs, these companies, these giants, they keep on sharing rewards. They keep on sharing rewards, and they also hire. Now, sometimes they also hire the person who have find the bug for them. Correct? And that exactly is the main motive of white hat hackers, to find the vulnerabilities and to make sure that the system and the company is well aware of it, right? Absolutely. Thank you for confirmation, guys. Now, next is why ethical hacking. Why exactly we require ethical hacking? Because as we know, we live in a world where data is increasing in an exponential manner, right? So there are humongous amount of data, not huge, but humongous amount of data coming in from different sources. And for that, and just to make sure that our data integrity is kept as it is, we have to make sure that we find out all the vulnerabilities for the entire system, right? Because we want to make sure our data is valuable. Our data, our users' data, these are more valuable to us, right? So we don't want any kind of hack, any kind of leaks happening to that data, right? And again, if the data gets hacked, again, it can lead to a serious business loss, right? Because again, any company seeing a complete data breach, right, that can be a serious loss to the entire business altogether, right? And that's why we have to make sure that our entire data is kept intact, right? Now, as a security expert, now, okay, and again, if we want to get idea on what exactly or how much damage has been done to these companies, if we want to take a look at that data, then we do have a portal called as Information is Beautiful. Let me showcase you that just a moment. So here we have a portal called Information is Beautiful. Information is Beautiful. Let me share this link with everyone in case we have never used this portal. Here you go. So I have shared the link with everyone. Please give me a quick information, guys, if you all have the link. Everyone? Abhay, Padu, Rajendra, Akshay. Wonderful. Thank you so much for the confirmation, guys. So now we can use this. Now this particular website is really good in terms of getting some live statistics on the current trends, right? And as you can see here from this particular visualization, we can see how much of loss has been incurred by different companies in which have experienced data breaches or data hacking, right? As you can see here we have the data present for the entire year from last 10 years. That means from 2009 till date, what, like, which companies have experienced the data losses and what has been the impact, like how much big the attack was. For example, let's say if we talk about Marriott hotels, right? If you want to visualize, if you want to see the report for Marriott hotels, just click on this particular report, and then we'll be able to see the detailed report, right? So again, Marriott hacking exposed us data of up to 500 million guests that Marriott has hosted till now, right? So there was a complaint of what that data breach was, how it happened, and how much of losses it gave to the company, right? So all of these can be can be read in this particular report here, right? So it becomes on. This is a good tool to stay away to stay aware on to keep aware on the current hacks happening and what has been the biggest data breaches, so that we can find a pattern, we can stay updated on which attack is more prominent, which attack is more popular nowadays, so that we can stay alert in those contexts, right? And as you can see here, we can find the reports, and as you can see from the data itself, the trend the amount of attacks that we can see here beginning from 2009, it has increased multiple folds, right? As you can see here, it has increased multiple folds, and it will keep on increasing as the amount of data, it keeps on growing as well, right? Because more the amount of data, that means more hacking it is prone to, right? And that's how we can, and for getting information like this one, this is a really good tool that we can sign up for as well as a blog. All right. All right. So now let's get right back. So as we are discussing why exactly we require ethical hacking to make sure our data is secured, because again, if our data gets leaked, even if our data gets hacked, then it will attract a big loss for our business and as well as for our impression as well as for our company image, right? And now what exactly a security threat is, right? So basically any threat that is again, we can say any potential threat as well, which can harm the securities of the entire system, right? So that now in terms of security threats, we basically divide this into two main types. We have physical threats, and then we have non-physical threats. We have two main divisions of threats here, right? Now, in terms of threat, we have now in terms of physical threats, we can have internal, external, or human threat as well. Internal can be, suppose, any kind of physical hardware is being inserted, right? Any kind of physical hardware is being inserted into the servers. That can be part of internal, right? External is any kind of external application has been connected, right? And again, human is in case of any kind of unauthorized access has been done by a physical human being, then those are a part of physical threats, right? Whereas if we talk about non-physical threats, then we have worms, viruses, trojans. Now these are not any human diseases or any human human factors. These are all physical threats, right? Like non-physical threats. Now when we talk about worms, viruses, and trojans, right, and spyware, these are all different virus type that we can see here, that we may have experienced into our system, right? So when we talk about worms and viruses, these are simply programs that the main motive of these programs are, it's simply replicate themselves rapidly inside the system, right? For example, if we got any kind of worms or viruses into a system, then the same virus can simply replicate, and not slowly, but again the frequency of replication would be much higher, so that it will fill the entire system, it will fill the entire hard disk for us. That means we are left with not even a single byte of spacing, right? That's the main purpose of worms and viruses, whereas trojans are basically used as a spyware, where trojans and spyware, they keep recording every kind of activity happening on the system or on the network, and they keep on sending that data to the attackers, right? And trojans can work in stealth mode. That means it can stay undetected, and there are multiple companies, there are multiple even antivirus system from which they can stay undetected because of the quality they are built upon, right? And the main purpose of these are just to send the information from the host to the admin as a part of unauthorized access. All right. And as we discussed now, based on how we can prevent these now, and any company should have a security measure so that it can make sure that these are avoided. These are avoided, and even though they enter our system, even though they enter our network, this can be successfully be limited and terminated as well as per the requirement. All right. Okay, I have a query from Badu. So can we say that Facebook and other sites that use data for analytics are a kind of Trojan? Parus, so basically Trojan are undetected. They don't ask for a permission, right? But again, as soon as we sign up for Facebook, for other accounts, they obviously ask for permission so that they can use our data, so that they can send our data, so that we will be sending our data to Facebook for further analysis, right? That we must have experience whenever we sign up for any new account. They ask us to agree to entire terms and conditions, right? Which we obviously read in detail, each and every pointer, correct? So basically, we are simply agreeing to every of the pointers that they will be using our data that will be generating into our account and using it for their own analysis. All right. So is it clear? Please give me a quick confirmation. Wonderful. Thank you for confirmation, Padu. Right. So again, for making sure that any kind of viruses are not detected, because again, if we talk about the basic difference between virus and worms, now the main job of these both are to replicate themselves, right? Whereas virus needs an active operating system, whereas worms, they do not need any kind of active operating system or active system, right? So worms can also work on inactive systems, whereas viruses, they do need an active system to work upon, right? And then we have Trojans. So Trojans, now for Trojan method, we need to make sure that our entire network, all the user ID are using a strong passwords, right? In case of any on-premise security measures, we are using biometric cards, we are using iris scanner to make sure we minimize the possibility of any kind of Trojan attacks, right? And in terms of spyware, we can make sure we use an efficient IPS or IDS device itself, right? So that we can make sure, again, we can also set up multiple firewalls to make sure any kind of spyware entering our system is detected through those firewalls and through the network itself, so that before it even enters as a system, our entire hardware, it can be terminated at that level itself. All right. Now, okay, first of all, are we clear till this part? Please give me a quick confirmation, guys. Everyone, are we all clear till this part on what exactly ethical hacking is and what exactly are different types of attacks? Please give me a quick information, everyone, so that I can be assured that this is clear for everyone, so that we can move ahead. Wonderful. Thank you so much for confirmation, everyone. Now let's proceed. Now, let's first of all understand, in order to become ethical hacker, what kind of skill sets we need, right? First of all, in order to become any ethical hacker, we have to have a good programming skills, because at the end, we'll be writing scripts. At the end, we'll be creating viruses. We'll be trying to manipulate the network, right? So for becoming a good ethical hacker, we need to have a good understanding on HTML, JavaScript, PHP, SQL, Python, and Bash language, right? So if we are good with these languages, then we are good to become a good ethical hacker, right? Then we need to have a depth knowledge of operating systems. When we say depth knowledge of operating system, we need to understand how exactly the entire operating system is structured, what are its components, what are the different life cycle processes involved in any operating system, right? And when we talk about operating system, we mean Linux, we mean Windows, we mean Mac as well, so that we have complete clarity on how these systems are created, what are the drawbacks, what is the structure they use for messaging purposes, for different purposes, so that once we have a good understanding on how the OS works, then we can leverage that, then we can bypass it. All right. Next is we need to have a good understanding of networking as well. Now, why networking? Because in order to gain access to any particular application or any software, especially when we are talking about on-premise servers, we do need to know how the networking works, right? How to get access to the port. Suppose if we want to if we want to steal files, right? As an ethical hacker, then we need to know what the network is and how we can inject ourselves into the network. What are different protocols that we can take advantage of, right? And for that purpose itself, we need the skill set for networking, right? So are we clear on the skill set required? Please give me a quick information, everyone. Are we clear on the skill set that we require to become a cyber secure, or we can say ethical hacker? Perfect. Thank you for confirmation, everyone. So now let's proceed. Now, why exactly now we need to learn program? Why cannot we just do away if we are not good with programming, if we don't know how to code, right? Because again, hackers are problem solvers, right? Because again, we need to understand how to build solutions, and how to create problems as well, right? So basically, we will be able to make sure that we do take care of all the requirements of completing a ethical hacking task, right? Because again, here we have to write codes, right? Because writing program will simply will make sure that we are competitive, right? And again, when we write any programs, we'll be able to exploit any particular programming errors, right? Because hacking can also happen at the code level. For example, let's say when we have opened up a website, when we got the access to the source code for any website, and now we saw, okay, that there's a vulnerability. That means we can inject a simple JavaScript code into that particular website file, right? Then what we can do now, first of all, how we will be getting this information? When we have a good command over coding, then only we can observe the entire code and see the loophole and observe the loophole, and then we can try to exploit it, right? But again, if we don't have the expertise on coding, then we won't be able to do that, right? And that's why coding is essential part of any cyber security expert profile, right? And again, if we are good at coding, we can be the complete owner of the application. We can customize the functionality, we can customize the entire networking as well as per our requirement. It will be all just a play of our fingers, right? So that's why coding is an essential part of ethical hacking, that we need to be good with the coding. All right. Now, in terms of hacking tools, then there are multiple hacking tools that are popular in the market for different purposes, for different syntax here, right? So the most popular tool for hacking are NetSparker, we have Burp Suite, we have Nmap, Acunix, we have Hashguard, and SQLite. In terms of the operating system, we basically use Kali Linux, right? And these are the main popular tools. But again, if we talk about in-depth popular tools, then there are more different purposes, right? For example, let's say when we are talking about adding hashing techniques, right? If we are talking about stealing passwords, keyloggers, or suppose multiple phishing tools, right? Phishing tools, spamming tools, right? Network duplicators. We have tools for spoofing as well. So there are multiple tools, multiple process, and we have specific tools for each and every process involved, right? As a part of ethical hacking, right? Now, what these tools are and what kind of role they do perform, we'll be exploring step by step, just to avoid confusion at this point of time. All right. Now, let's proceed further. What exactly is social engineering? So, social engineering has always been a pillar for ethical hacking here, right? So, when we talk about social engineering, then social engineering is basically the art of manipulating the users or the system. That means they can reveal the important information, they can give us the confidential information that we need to have in order to gain the unauthorized access, right? Now, when we say social engineering, now there can be multiple ways of doing that. Now, we must be aware of all the lottery emails, of all the matrimonial offers, or all the dating SMSs and dating website emails that we must be getting into our inbox. So, are we all aware of that fact? We must be. Please give me a quick information, everyone. We must be getting dozens of spam emails, right? Multiple emails like we have won a lottery. Multiple emails, okay, that's our true love is waiting for us. We must have got multiple emails like our company is trying to promote us, or we are getting this much of offer, money, car, home, and these kind of emails, correct? And that's exactly as a perfect recipe for social engineering, where we use the human emotions. We use the attackers, they simply use the human emotions in order to gain advantage of them and extract the information they need to gain the unauthorized access. For example, now this is also the most popular method nowadays. That means now we get multiple calls from hackers, right? Where they ask us for our OTPs for our card numbers, our credit card numbers, right? They also ask us for our birthdays, our CVVs, right? And again, what they do, and again, they talk in such a manner that that person, or that any person, they are also willing to share the OTP with them as well, right? So now, as soon as they have got the OTP, then we can say goodbye. We can say goodbye to our bank account. We can say goodbye to our money, right? Because then we are giving them the complete access to our account to carry out the transactions, right? And these all things are part of a concept which we call as social engineering. All right. Now, social engineering has always, as all the other process, it has multiple phases, right? First of all, we gather information. When we say we gather information, that means we pinpoint our target. As an attacker, we simply pinpoint our target. For example, let's say when we are talking about hacking bank accounts, then millennials nowadays, now they are less prone to these attacks as compared to the elders, right? Because they are not that comfortable with the technology as compared to the teenagers, as compared to the young audience, right? So then they are easy attacks. They are soft targets for the attackers, because then they can leverage these kind of users into luring them and making sure that they handle their account details with us, right? To us itself. So first of all, we have to pinpoint the target, the victim, right? And once we have pinpointed the victim here, then we have to go to the another stage where we plan the attack. That means how we are planning to reach out to that user. For example, let's say if we have to target a 60-year-old gentleman, right? Then let's plan out how we are trying to convey and how we plan to convey it to them. For example, let's say we are trying to send an email, we are trying to send an SMS, or we will simply directly call them, right? There are multiple types of attack that we can conduct, that we can stage as a part of social engineering, right? Now, once we have planned the attack, then obviously then we have to acquire tools as well. That means, for example, let's say when we have planned out the email as a method, then obviously we have to use an email platform for carrying out the attack, right? And then we have to create the content as well. Now, once the content has been created, then we can simply attack, right? And now in email, now we cannot only send the message, but again, we can also include multiple malwares. We can include multiple malwares or Trojans inside the email, right? So once they interact with the email, we can install malware, we can install viruses and Trojans into the system, which can again be done undetected, so that now we can start collecting information from their own system. We can do that, right? Now, as a simple example, if we have to understand this in a better way, we have a better clarity. Let's suppose we to understand this, we can use a pen here. For example, let's say we have identified, okay, that now we are trying to target this particular gentleman, right? Now as an attacker here, now we can mark this attacker here. Now as an attacker, what we did, we simply created an email, right? We created an email here. We built an email, and here in the image itself, we simply installed one particular virus, right? Or suppose in the image here, we have hidden one particular Trojan application, right? And again, this can look like, obviously this email will look like a regular email, right? And once we have created this particular Trojan here, we can send it to the participant here, or we can say to the victim here, right? Now, once the user opens up this email, now this particular image may look like an offer image, right? In reality, it may look like an offer image where it will simply ask the users to click now or to click here to redeem the offers, right? And as soon as they have clicked on this part, the Trojan will be installed in their system, right? Trojan will be installed in the system, which will now simply send all the information back to whom? What Trojan will do? Trojan will simply send the entire detail back to the attacker itself. That means their key log, their password, whatever activity they are doing, now this can be traced back to the victim here as a part of social engineering. All right. So are we clear on social engineering, guys? Please give me a quick confirmation, everyone. Please give me a quick information, everyone, so that I can be assured that this is clear for everyone so that we can move ahead. Okay, so I have a query from Padu. So how to report such attackers to authorities and get them booked? So we can simply now, there are multiple cybersecurity cells, Padu, so we can report this kind of activities to them so that they can take actions on top of it. So do these mails show up in sent items too? If we have replied, then obviously this is again, suppose let's say we have received it, right? But majority of the email providers, they have multiple algorithms in place through which they can sort these kind of spamming emails, right? Like we must have seen the spam folder in our own Gmail, correct? So there we have multiple algorithms in place which can automatically sort out like which email are regular emails and which emails are spam emails, right? So in case they contain some kind of threats, some kind of viruses, then those can be avoided, right? Those can be avoided in terms of users, right? So if we go back and take a look at our own inbox, right? So here, as you can see here we have this spam folder. So currently we have spam folder, right? And again, as you can see here, we can find multiple emails that has been marked as spam, right? Now, some of us may be genuine as well, right? But as per the algorithm, whichever email looks like unsafe email, these are automatically moved into spam folder, as you can see here. All right. So is it clear, Padu? Please give me a quick information. All right. So now let's proceed further. And once they have attacked, again, now next phase is again, they can simply extract the information that they have got the access to. And this entire step can be repeated as per the requirement, right? If we are working as an ethical hacker itself, right? Now, there are multiple techniques that we can use for carrying out the social engineering attack. First of all, let's say when we are familiar to any kind of victims or any group of victims, then we can always disguise ourselves as the attacker, right? Again, then we can also replicate any kind of instances happening. For example, let's say we know that an individual is actively looking for a home loan, right? Then what we can do, we can spam them, we can send them an email asking them to, or suppose simply giving them an offer, get home loan in 5 minutes, get home loan in 1 day at an attractive offer, right? So now that does what? That simply makes sure that particular user will have a higher possibility of interacting and sharing the details in that email as compared to others, right? So if we know the situation, again, we can leverage that as an attacker, right? Then we also have phishing. So phishing is basically what? Phishing is simply making sure that we showcase a replicated copy of the page, which will not be an exact page, but the user may think that this page is equal, right? For example, let's say if we have to understand phishing here, for example, here we have two websites. For example, let's use a pen here. Here we have two websites, right? So one website is suppose for a bank. This is the bank's website, a bank website, right? And suppose here we create another copy. Here the attacker can do what? Here the attacker can create the same replica of the bank website, of the same bank website, right? Here it can be the logo. Suppose in the original website, if there was a logo, a simple field for logging in, here we have offers running in, and then here we have description, right? So the same exact replica can be created by the attackers to make sure that anyone visiting this page will think that this is the original bank page. They will think that this is the original bank page, right? Where it will not be, right? And that's why we must have seen that nowadays multiple bank system nowadays multiple banks, they share an image as well, right? So as soon as we enter our username, we get to see an image that we have saved as a security purpose, so that in case if it was a phishing page, if it is a phishing page, then it will not fetch that image that we have used for security purposes, right? We must have experienced that when we are browsing the networking websites, right, everyone? We must have experienced that whenever we enter a username, we also get an image, right, that we have stored as a security measure. So that once we now until unless we see that image, we don't need to enter our password, so that we can validate for ourselves that this particular website is genuine or not, right? For example, let's say when we in the original website, in the original, and this is a duplicate, right? So in the original website, suppose as soon as we enter our details, we will be able to see an image that we have stored as a security purpose, right? But here, and then only we have to type in our password, not before that. Whereas in phishing page, if we enter the details, then there will be nothing shown. It will be completely blank, or the same page will be returned. All right, and that is a part of security measure that we can avoid, that we can implement to avoid these kind of phishing. All right, so are we all clear on the concept of phishing, guys? Please give me a quick confirmation, everyone. Are we all clear on phishing? Sri, Padu. Perfect. Thank you for confirmation. Now let's get right back. All right, so now next is we have something called as cryptography, right? So any idea, anyone, what exactly cryptography is before we get started? Any idea what exactly cryptography is? You may have heard about this term, you may have read about this term multiple times over internet and different blogs, in multiple events. And don't worry about getting it right or wrong, guys. Please feel free to share anything that you want, right? So anything that tops your mind on cryptography, please share that. Any idea, anyone, what exactly cryptography is? Now, cryptography, as we know, is basically converting any particular message that we intend for the end users. We basically mean to change the original content into some other text, into some other untext in unreadable format. And once it reaches to the end consumer, or we can say the receiver's end, right? Then only it can be converted back to the readable text, right? And that's a part of encryption method that we take care of as a part of cryptography, right? So we convert one text into unreadable format that is called as ciphertext, and then we convert it back in order to make it readable, right? For example, let's say we have this message called I love apples. Now we want to send this to someone, but we want to make sure that no one is able to read the content. Even though suppose someone gets their hands on this content, they won't be able to read it, right? Then what we can do, we can simply convert this text into an encrypted message, which is called as a ciphertext, right? So this encrypted text here, it is referred as ciphertext, so that even though anyone has the access to this particular text, they won't be able to make sense out of it because this is unreadable, right? And that's exactly what we do as a part of cryptography, right? And there are multiple types of cryptography that we can apply. There are multiple algorithms that we take care of when we are working with cryptography, right? For example, let's say if we have to understand cryptography in a better context. Now, let's do one thing. Let's open up our notepad, or let's suppose we open up another editor called Notepad++. Let's open this up. Have a simple algorithm that we use when we are working with cryptography. Let's suppose here we have something called as cipher. Okay, first of all, let's understand how does cryptography works. First of all, let's first understand how does a cryptography works, and then we'll see an example for an algorithm that we use as a part of cryptography, right? For example, let's go back to our drawing mode. Now, here we have a simple text, right? So let's say we wrote, okay, TEXT. Here we have simple text in this file here, right? Now this is being sent from user A, and this is intended for user B, right? Now this text file can be first of all encrypted. It can be, now there's a process called as encryption. We call this as encryption, right? So encryption, what happens? We simply convert the entire text into a unreadable format, right? We encrypt the entire text here, right? So here for this process is referred as encryption, right? And what we do is we simply convert the entire file into unreadable format. Suppose this can be KGMP, right? So now, then only this entire text is now being transferred over the network, where before being visible to the end users, again, right? This is called as decryption, right? So I hope you can understand this computer's $1 million calligraphy, guys. So here we have decryption, and again, this entire encrypted text has to be converted back into the readable format, right? So again, suppose now it will be again converted into TEXT, and then only it will be visible to the. All right. So B here will become A, C will become B, D will become C, E will become D, and so on, right? So you're simply shifting the letters by one position so that let's suppose when we are trying to send any particular message, for example, I will become H, J will become again, so and so on, right? So that's what we are trying to do. We are simply trying to shift this, right, by one particular position here. All right. So that, let's suppose when we are trying to send a message such as hello, or suppose let's say we are trying to send something as bad, right? So now bad will be, now what kind of message will be sent, what kind of encryption will be happening for bad? Any idea, anyone? Anyone want to try? Based on this algorithm that we have discussed, if we try to send, if we want to send a message as bad, right? So what will be the cipher text for bad? Anyone want to try? Based on, now again, this will be based on this algorithm that we have discussed, on this Caesar cipher that we have discussed. So we simply have to take this algorithm in consideration while we are encrypting this. Okay, Muthukumar says it'll be ADB. Okay, Pudhu, AZC. Okay, just try, guys. Don't worry about getting it right or wrong. What kind of algorithm, or what kind of encrypted message it will be? So we can say this will be the plain text, right? This will be the plain text here, and this will be called as the cipher text, so that we don't have any kind of confusion. Right? So here, as we had been discussing, so here we'll be having the plain text now bad, right? So bad will be, now B refers to, now suppose let's say when we are converting bad, right? So B will be what? A is what? Now again, it can be Z. A will be Z, because again it will again come back, correct? So A will be Z, because again at the end Z will be X, Z will be Y, and again Z itself will be coming back to A itself, right? So it will be Z, and then D is what? D is again C itself, right? So the correct code here will be AZC, which again, and again, when we are trying to decipher it, again, it can be converted back to bad. All right. So are we all clear on the concept of cryptography and the basic usage of this kind of algorithm called a Caesar cipher? Please give me a quick information, guys. Perfect. Thank you for the confirmation, everyone. So this is one of the basic example for how we can conduct the cryptography, how we can use the different algorithms, and there are multiple more complex algorithms as well. Suppose if we want to shift this by suppose 3 positions, right? Again, we can shift it. Now currently we have shifted this by 1 position. Now again can be 2. Now it can be 3, right? Now if we use this concept here, then what will happen? D will become A, E will become B, and F will become C in case of ciphertext, right? So again, if we are trying to encrypt to convert this again, then this will be what? Now A, now bad. B becomes, again, it will be Z, right? So again, here will be Z, and again, it will be Y and X, right? So B will become Y itself, right? And then A will become X, and D will become A, right? So now again, now we have made it hard for anyone to encrypt this. Why? Because we have shifted this to 3 positions, right? Because if it comes back, then A will be becoming X, this will be Y, and this will be Z, as we have encrypted this. All right. So it all comes down to which kind of algorithm we are using and how complex we are, and more complicated we make it, more it'll be much harder for the attackers to get the idea on what kind of algorithm is being used here. All right. A simple example for cryptography here. All right. So now let's come right back. All right. Next we have now crypto analysis. Now, so crypto analysis is basically the art of decrypting the encrypted message, right? Just like we have done here, right? Suppose if we are good now, if we are good with the encryption method, then now cybersecurity experts, they can now just by taking a look itself, they can know, okay, what kind of algorithm is being used for encrypting the entire message, right? And if anyone decodes the algorithm or if anyone is able to decode the logic, then it becomes easier for anyone to decode the entire message, right? Because once we know, okay, that this has been shifted by third position, by three positions, right? Then we can simply decrypt the entire code here. Then it won't be hard for us, right? And that exactly is a part of cryptanalysis, where we try to decode the encryption done, right? And again, now as we know, when we are trying to decode anything, we obviously need time. We always need computing power as well in case of complex algorithm being used. And we also need a storage capacity as well when we are trying to decrypt a large amount of data set, right? So if these things are feasible for us, that means devoting that much of time, devoting that much of computer power and resources, then it becomes profitable for any kind of attacker to encrypt the message, to decrypt the message. All right. Next is we have now. Okay. Next is we have multiple cryptographic algorithms here, right? So cryptography, as we had discussed, it is simply done on by using a simple algorithm that we had discussed already, right? And these are different algorithms that we can use. Like we have MD5, right? So MD5 is basically the hash algorithm that we use for making sure that the entire passwords, any kind of fields available in databases, these are secured, right? And again, SHA is used for secure hashing algorithm, where we have SHA2, SHA3, and so on, right? And these are the most popular algorithms used because MD5 has been used earlier, almost a decade back, but there are multiple drawbacks. This is a weak algorithm that we can use for hashing purposes, right? Whereas SHA is now the standard, and again, it provides a good security for securing our databases. For example, let's say when we are storing our database, right? So let's understand this in a simple, in the most simple format, right? So let's say we are storing some database and passwords, right? For example, let's say we have a database here, right? So now in this database, what we are doing, we are storing information about users, where we have the username, and here we have the password for them, right? Now we can store the username. Suppose let's say we have a username called as admin. We have a username called as admin here, right? But the password, if we store the exact password without encrypting it, right? Then again, if someone gets the access to this entire table, this will be a huge loss in the data security, because again, they will be able to get the exact username and password without any kind of difficulty, right? So what we do is, in order to make sure that the passwords entered for these different usernames, right? Even though they get the username, but they shouldn't be getting the password, right? So for making sure that we secure these passwords, we encrypt these passwords by using multiple hash algorithms, right? And again, that's why we have MD4, MD5, MD6, and so on, for making sure that passwords are never saved directly in the databases, right? So these passwords are always encrypted, so that now whenever we try to log in, now first of all, let's suppose in the login screen, right? In the login screen, there's a password, there's a field for username, and there's a field for password, right? And once the user types in their password, now this, they simply first of all decrypt the password to match. If it matches the encrypted texture, then only they are granted the access, right? And that's exactly when we use these kind of hashing algorithms. All right. So are we clear on this part, everyone? Please give me a quick confirmation. Are we all clear on this part? Perfect. Thank you for confirmation, everyone. Okay, Padus, so please repeat MD5 SHA more elaborately. Sure, let's do that. Just a moment. Okay, so first of all, let's say when we are now, as a simple example, let's suppose when we are saving the passwords here, right? So for example, we have a password called as, okay, let's type this out so that it becomes clear for everyone. Let's again lose a couple of millions. So let's erase the entire drawing here. Let's go right back, right? For example, here we in database, we have username. We have username stored as, suppose we have the username stored as admin, right? And in in the same database, we have the password. We have the password as, suppose we have password named as, suppose admin1 @123, right? Now let's suppose if we save this kind of password directly into our database, right? And if the database contains the user details for, so let's suppose 50 users or 500 users or 1,000 users, right? So if any attacker gets the access to those databases directly, then they won't be able to, then we won't be able to restrict them, correct? But as a good security measure, what we can do, we can convert the password into a ciphertext. We can say that, and into a ciphertext, right? Again, we can convert this to any kind of encrypted value, where we can convert this to any kind of encrypted value. That means even though if some of the attacker gets the access to this database, right, they won't be able to decrypt the password, correct? Because now it is converted into hash value. Now it is converted into hash values here, right? And that's a basic usage of using hashing algorithms in, especially in databases, for making them secure. So is it clear? Padu, please give me a quick information. Perfect. Thank you for confirming. Muthu Kumar. All right, so now let's get right back. Now, let's see a small demo on one of the tools that we can use for encryption methods, right? So here we have a tool called Invisible Secrets. Right, here we have a tool called Invisible Secrets here, right? So let me share this link with everyone. So here we can download this tool by simply searching for Invisible Secrets. So here we have the link available from where we can download now. Invisible is basically a tool through which we can convert our images into a coded messages, right? So we can attach any kind of files, we can make any files hidden, any kind of messages hidden in the images that we can transfer, that we can share securely, right? Just like we saw in our earlier spy movies, right? Where we had encrypted or coded images, right? So in those contexts, what we can do, we can simply convert them into we can hide our messages inside the images, and then we can use it to transfer that. All right. Okay. Let me share this direct link with everyone. Here we go. So you can all use this link to start to download this entire tool here, guys, which is a basic tool that we can use in order to hide any kind of images, right? So let's open now. Once we have this tool here, guys. Okay, before we proceed with tool, do we all have the link? Please give me a quick confirmation, everyone. Do we all have the link for that has been shared with everyone? Perfect. Thank you for confirmation, guys. Now, once we open up this tool, what we can do, we can see here, we have multiple options, right? We can encrypt files here. We can shred files. We can convert from IP to IP, right? Or we can lock the application as per the requirement, right? So first of all, as a hands-on demo, what we are trying to do, we are simply trying to hide a message in any of the files, right? Any of the images, right? So here we have to click on this option which says hide files. Okay, this has been hidden. Basically, what we do is we basically use this for converting. We use this for basically for converting or hide the files, right? Basically, so let's suppose we are trying to convert this for encryption. For let's suppose we are trying to convert any file into encrypted file through multiple algorithms that we can choose. We can use multiple cryptography algorithms. We can use the hash values as well. If we are trying to encrypt any of the messages, we can do that. All right. Now, basically, as we all don't have the access to this tool as of now, so again, if we have the access, we can simply go ahead and click on hide files. Now basically, when we click on hide files, what will happen? Simply we'll be getting a simple image. So we have to choose an image first, and then we can decide what kind of message. All right. Okay, and see there are multiple queries coming in. So just a moment, guys, let me address those queries first. Just a moment. So the multiple queries coming in from our YouTube participants. Just a moment. Okay, I have a query from Viz Yadav. So how much days we need to become ethical hacker? Viz, in case we are already comfortable with coding, then we won't require more than a month to become a good cybersecurity expert, right? But again, if we do require the expertise of coding first, then it may take up to 2 months to first of all get a good understanding on the coding concepts, and then we can get started on becoming a good ethical hacker. Thank you so much for the appreciation, Ravindra. I hope this is clear for you, Viz, right? Okay, I have a query from Lunders. So that's right. And how about the MD5 and SHA 256, 512? What will be getting? Okay. So basically, whenever we are working with any kind of hashing algorithms, right? So basically, the bigger size it has, the more secure it becomes, right? For example, let's say when we're using it for 64 KB, right? Again, obviously 64 bits. Obviously, it is less secure. But when we increase it to 128, to 512, to 256, again, it becomes more secure in those cases, right? And MD5 had been most popular for almost a decade back, but again, there had been some serious security breaches when the data was stored with MD5 hashing algorithm, right? That's why we do not use it anymore. Although we use it, but again, that is not used as an industry standard. It is not that popular for securing the data as of now. Okay, I have a query from Bizmomi. So can I use JavaScript for hacking? Sure, we can now. Obviously, let's suppose as a small example, let's say when we know the website is allowing the use of comments, right? When we know the website is allowing the use of comments, right? And they're allowing the implementation of adding links into that comment. So what we can do, we can simply link our own JavaScript file into that comment so that whenever the website loads, our JS file also loads with it, right? And then in the same JS file, what we can do, we can simply write a code so that all the information regarding the user session, their cookies and everything can be transferred to us. All right. So I guess it is clear for you. Username call as Busy Boni. Yes, Shivam, depending upon how we are trying, how or which kind of algorithm we are using it, right? But basically, we try to keep different hashes for different passwords. All right. So, and as a part of our entire trading part here, guys, we do have a full-fledged course that we can always go ahead and explore. So here we have a complete course called Cyber Security Certification Training. Certification training offered by Edureka itself. So here we can explore this entire certification training here. Just a moment. Now here we have the entire cybersecurity certification course, which we are offering to get started or on a career path to cybersecurity, right? So here we can see we have multiple topics that we'll be discussing in detail. First of all, we'll be discussing on security essentials, where each and every topic is combined with multiple hands-on, right? So for example, let's say we have cryptography, computer networks, application security, data endpoints, IDM, called as identity access management, right? And then we have cloud security, different phases of cyber attack, and ending it with security processes and practice for business, right? So here we have multiple hands-on also involved for each and every topic in detail so that we can get a good grasp of how the different companies are securing their applications and network, what are the policies they are using for it, and what are different tools and techniques on how we can get started on becoming cybersecurity experts. All right. And please feel free to, again, please do not forget to fill the NPS feedback form, which we'll be getting by the once we end the session here, so that you all can be eligible for discounts if we do fill up that form along with rating us excellent in that feedback form, right? So please feel free to fill that form here, guys, along with rating us excellent as a small token of appreciation for the hard work and time that we have put in, right? And hope to see you all soon. Join the entire session so that we can continue from the journey that we have started today. All right. So thank you so much for joining, guys, and have a great day ahead. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye. Okay, before we wrap up, okay, I have a query from Gladstone. So which language we should know? Gladstone, we can, now if we are good with JavaScript, if we are good with Python, JavaScript, then we are good to go. HTML, JavaScript, Python, and we are good to go in getting started on our journey on cybersecurity. All right. No problem. Thank you for the confirmation. So please do not forget to fill the feedback form, guys, so that we can, and again, please do rate us excellent in that feedback form to get multiple discounts on the courses that we are offering. And hope to see you all soon join the entire course here so that we can continue with the journey that we have started today. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great day ahead. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.